The man who survived SCP-096. Guys, I just finished reacting to this. It's so good. It was a custom tale that was originally written by SCP Illustrated and Dr. Clef. And then this was the first part, right? And then this is the continuation of it, or after the aftermath of what happened when 096 breached containment. And it's really, really good. Huge mystery at the end too. I hope you guys enjoy it. Make sure to subscribe to SCP Illustrated. Subscribe to me if you enjoy reactions, and let's do this. And yes, I don't have a hat on. It's being washed, and I'm coming to terms with my bad hairline, so sue me.
Medical staff briefing concerning incident 096-128.
That's about the first episode, I guess.
Dr. Stanford was given quite a bit more authority at Site-19 than was likely prudent or wise.
Okay.
When we authorized the SCP-012 cross-testing, we didn't really give too much thought to the possible requests Stanford could make. The lack of oversight led to the death of 31 people.
Right.
The number may strike you as odd, given that the official death tally was 32, accounting for Dr. Stanford and Director Mallon.
But there was a survivor.
Nothing can be done for Director Mallon, but Dr. Stanford's other cross-testing requests have led us to a peculiar circumstance.
Okay.
Tell me, are any of you familiar with SCP-447?
Which one is that? There's so many to remember, man.
The room looked right. The hospital green paint chipped slightly at the floorboards. He turned his head to the right and looked out the window. The sun had a decidedly lime tint to it, and he could swear he smelled mint in the air.
I'm guessing that's
He
the
turned
survivor.
back to look at the ceiling. The events of the last few days continued to play over and over. The fact that SCP-012 had led to his nearly dying wasn't especially surprising to him. But what had happened?
Yeah.
He'd cross-tested it with 096, right. And 096 had burst through the room and thrown him into his own bookcases. After that, he didn't remember anything.
Oh, so that's
He
Dr.
tried to
Stanford
recall
himself.
the melody that SCP-096 had created, but it felt fuzzy.
Okay.
Huh. You're awake.
Dr. Stanford looked over at the figure in the door.
It is Dr.
Who
Stanford.
are you?
That's less important. You're trying to recall the melody, yes?
Yes.
Dr. Stanford's eyes went slightly wider. You're in my...
Am I dead?
Not exactly.
Oh, wait, what?
You sound like... Dr. Mary Hastings, is that you?
No. I am just using a voice, you know, to make things easier for you.
Fuck.
Interesting?
Yeah. Nothing like that moment of realization.
The figure walked up to Dr. Stanford and placed a hand on his forehead.
You're burning up. I'm going to have to take some stuff, I think.
Take what?
Nothing you'll miss. I promise. But the thing that put you in the hospital only left you alone because it briefly killed you.
Oh.
I don't want you to die as soon as you wake up and hum a tune.
The hand on his forehead burned him. It felt like his whole body was
Song.
burning. He panicked as he realized the whole room was covered in green slime. It dripped from the ceiling and covered his body. He looked out the window, and there wasn't a sun at all, just a glowing orb of green slime floating just above the horizon.
Did the
You
song
won't
make him
feel a
do
thing.
that?
I promise.
The whole world went green, and minty he thought, before he thought nothing at all.
Kinda got the chills, man.
SCP-447 Procedural Instructions.
Okay.
SCP-447 constantly excretes a green slime.
Alright.
The green slime has a number of therapeutic and practical applications, but must never come into contact with a dead body. A
Okay.
dead body that comes into contact with SCP-447 slime is to be contained inside the site medical ward. Under no circumstances are any statements made by such dead bodies to be acknowledged by staff. Counselling in regards to exposure to dead bodies affected by SCP-447 slime is to be provided on request. Under no circumstances is deliberate contact between SCP-447 produced slime and a dead body to ever be attempted.
Okay. What the heck happens?
When Dr. Stanford woke up, he found himself in a hospital bed. No green tint to the paint, no window to a slime-covered world. Of course, there's no window, he thought. This is an underground facility. The last thing he remembered was SCP-096 bursting through his wall and flinging him against his own bookcases. He hadn't had time to react or see anything else, perhaps for the best. Not having seen its face, he'd be safe from retaliation. But why had it attacked him in the first place?
Because he heard
Good
the
morning,
song.
Doctor.
A woman's voice from his bedside startled Stanford. Dr. Stanford tried to look over, but he couldn't turn his head. I can't move my head. He paused, and his eyes went wide in horror. I can't feel my legs.
Uh-oh.
Yes, well, you had an accident. We gave you a paralytic to arrest motor function to your lowered body until you woke up.
Thank goodness.
Was quite a jostle you took. I didn't want you wrenching your neck and making things worse.
Can you imagine how
Dr. Stanford
horrifying
tried
that
to
would
look
be?
over again, this time with just his eyes. Can you please move over a bit so I can see who I'm talking to? Dr. Mary Hastings walked around to the foot of the bed.
Same voice.
What happened? Did I break my neck?
Not exactly. What do you remember about how you got here?
I was in my office. SCP-096 came through the wall and tossed me aside to get to Malin.
And then?
Dr. Stanford kept quiet.
You don't remember the green slime?
Dr. Stanford, were you using SCP-447 in your tea?
What? That's ridiculous. Stanford paused. I mean, yes. But it sounds ridiculous now that I say it out loud.
Indeed. You're the first dead body to come into contact with SCP-447
And not be insane
afterwards.
Ah, so it makes you insane.
I'm not dead.
That is actually a point of contention among the medical team.
What?
The force of SCP-096's throw was considerable. You smashed through the bookshelves and then directly into the stone wall behind it.
Okay.
Dr. Stanford tried to look down at his body, but he didn't see anything, which was odd.
Oh.
Even just using his eyes, he ought to have seen his feet. What aren't you telling me?
What?
The force of the impact,
It destroyed your body. I lied about the paralytics.
In my medical opinion, you went splat.
Dr. Hastings reached for something from the table next to his bed.
What?
Here.
She placed a mirror in his line of sight that was angled downward. He saw nothing except for his spine laying on the bed.
What?
A faint green slime covered the bones and pulsed with a strange glow. Dr. Stanford closed his eyes. That's enough.
What in the world?
The fact that you are at all coherent after contact with 447 is really remarkable. In the past, all contact between 447 and dead bodies has always been after some time has passed. Since you had it in your system when the accident happened, I have to assume you never really fully died. Or died so briefly as to not matter.
So the slime prevented him from dying.
Hastings nodded.
Yes, it's a lot to take in. You're a medical marvel, though. We thought about trying to reattach your legs and arms somehow, but the connective tissue was reared against the walls.
Oh gosh.
There was a pause then. Dr. Stanford tried to think about his life and how it had led to this point. But whatever. More important, he imagined, was what's next?
What was next?
So, what now?
Well, I'm going to talk to the rest of the medical staff, but I think pending O5 approval, we can release you after some
Release me to
additional
do
tests.
what?
Release me how?
Well, Steve was thinking about how we could attach your spine to a mobility scooter. Your brain still, remarkably I might add, sends electrical signals. So there is a surprising number of things we can do by plugging directly into your spine.
Oh my god.
Dr. Stanford would have shaken his head if he could. Instead, he was forced to imagine that. A spine attached to an electric wheelchair scooting around Site 19's halls. This was going to be an interesting day.
Can I have a mech instead of a wheelchair, please? Like
While a
whole
method of
mechanized
locomotion
body?
is under construction, we would like to say that it is not acceptable to refer to Dr. Stanford as a dead body, regardless of your views on how SCP-447 functions.
Okay.
It is additionally not polite to stare at Dr. Stanford. Neither is it advisable to comment on the mint smell that accompanies him. His disability is just as serious as anyone else's. Remember that he is still a project director, at least until a disciplinary hearing can be held due to the 096 incident, and perhaps even after. His authority is still equal to all but the site directors, so treat him accordingly.
Wow. Wow. So I had to know what the heck happens when this thing comes in contact with a dead body. And after taking a look at the SCP, the article itself, it doesn't explain it. It says it's clearly documented in Appendix 447B, which is basically taken away. It's been expunged by the O5 Council. So I even looked at some Reddit threads, and basically the author of this, Dr. Clef, said he posted in a forum thread specifically devoted to authors revealing what happens behind their redactions, that he will never reveal what's behind 447 and 231's redactions, which I'm not familiar with 231, but it's just to say, man, clearly it's something very dangerous, and all in all, this was a very, very cool tale and a great continuation. The original video, by the way, was 96 versus 012, which was the song, right? It was a really, really good custom tale written by Clef and SCP Illustrated together. So I really, really like this, guys. I hope y'all did too. Make sure to subscribe to SCP Illustrated. Subscribe to me if you enjoy reactions. And if you like this video, check this one out.